Hello, I would like to introduce the book, Chip War, by Chris Miller. This book is a non-fiction work that vividly depicts the offensives and defenses of nations and corporations over semiconductors, a strategic commodity indispensable for military, economic, and daily life. The rise and fall of the semiconductor industry is spun through micro-episodes of individuals and companies and elevated to a macroeconomic and industrial history. Daniel Yergin, winner of the Pulitzer Prize for the Petroleum Century, called it a book that must be read to understand the 21st century. The author, Chris Miller, is an up-and-coming economic historian in his 30s. He is a scholar at Tufts University's Fletcher School, renowned for its international relations studies, but also an astonishingly gifted writer. Although the book is over 400 pages long, the smoothness of his narration makes the book feel almost effortless to read. Moreover, each chapter is no longer than 10 pages and is divided into sections by theme or country. The story unfolds in chronological order, focusing on the major semiconductors: the United States, the Soviet Union, Japan, China, Taiwan, South Korea, and Southeast Asia. It is also possible to read the book from the point of highest interest. The story begins in the United States after World War II, and the history of semiconductors is depicted from the American perspective. In the early days of Silicon Valley, the center of IT companies, a group of engineers who rebelled against William Shockley, the father of the transistor, and later became known as the Eight Rebels, created giant semiconductor companies, including Intel Corporation. In the 1960s, the market shifted from supplying semiconductors for weapons and other military applications to focusing on the civilian market. The 1970s and 1980s, when the U.S. semiconductor industry was being driven out by highly cost-competitive Japanese products. The 1980s and 1990s, when companies revitalized themselves by prioritizing cost-cutting management methods. In the 1990s, companies pushed for the transfer of technology and the expansion of manufacturing plants to South Korea and Taiwan in order to outperform their Japanese competitors. The 2000s, which saw the establishment of a worldwide division of labor supply chain amid globalization. What we can sense from these episodes of joy, sorrow, and happiness is the atmosphere of the times and the industrial transition. They also serve as good case studies for business people. However, this book also provides a glimpse of the importance of the ability to read the market and make decisions as a large corporate executive, in addition to innovation in the semiconductor industry, which required continuous and massive investment. In the economic history of semiconductors, most of the latter half of the book is devoted to the rise of Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company, TSMC, which has made great strides to become the world's largest semiconductor manufacturer, and to the conflict between the U.S. and China surrounding Taiwan and TSMC. This is one of the most important themes in understanding the international politics and economics of the 21st century. As a prelude, the author devotes a certain number of pages to the Japan-US confrontation in the 1980s and 1990s. He cites as the main cause of Japan's defeat the fact that many Japanese companies clung to the cost-competitive DRAM sector and missed the PC and smartphone revolutions, although there were also external factors such as finance and politics. The argument is that some engineers had foresight in Japan, so there was a failure of corporate management. Reading this book, it is easy to understand that the semiconductor industry is not only a story of science and technology. The history of semiconductors is also a story of sales, marketing, supply chain management, and cost reduction, as well as a story of national economic struggles in which nations compete with each other. This is a good book that captures the history of semiconductors from a global perspective. See you in the next video.